Hi guys, and welcome to the very first episode of Happy Hour with Hope. Didn't work. Didn't work. So as I was planning for 2019, I knew that I wanted to incorporate more video content for you guys because you absolutely loved my old vlogs and any webinars and online things that I share. So when I asked what you guys wanted to see more of from me, you all mentioned those things, and I didn't even realize how much you missed them or enjoyed them when I did them, but I knew that this was something that I wanted to incorporate for the new year. So going into 2019, I'm going to be sharing weekly free educational videos on the blog every Monday morning. And each month we're going to have an overarching theme with 4 videos per theme to help you build the photography business of your dreams. So I'm really excited. I want them to be fun, but I also want them to be really practically helpful for all of you entrepreneurs and photographers out there that are chasing your dream just like I did. Again, each week I'm going to be sharing a new video on the blog. They're going to be going live on Monday mornings, and there's going to be a free guide right below this video that goes with every single one of the videos. It's going to have additional education, more resources for you, questions to answer to help you learn more about the content. So if you're tuning in and watching, make sure you download that guide below. So before we dive into any super practical content, I wanted to give you guys an intro video to tell you what Happy Hour with Hope is going to look like, but also to tell you a little bit about who I am, what I do, and how I got started. And if you've been following me for a while, you may already know this story, but I feel like knowing where I came from and how I built my business is a huge part in understanding the context of the education that I'm going to be teaching. For anybody that doesn't know, I began my business at the age of 17. I started falling in love with the art of photography as a junior in high school. And I took a photojournalism class just for fun. I needed the extra class, so I didn't really think much of it. And they required that I have a DSLR camera for that class. And just so you guys understand how little I knew about photography, I had a digital camera that had like a really long zoom. You guys have probably seen like the commercials on TV. And I thought that was a DSLR camera. But a DSLR camera is one where you can remove the lenses and take them on and off. So you were required to have a DSLR camera for this class. And the first day I was sitting in the class with my little digital camera that did not qualify for what they were looking for. And I was the only one in the class that didn't know what a DSLR camera was. So my teacher called me out. I had to leave and call my mom in the hallway and beg my parents, who my dad was in the military at the time. We didn't have any extra income to spend on an expensive camera, especially right after getting a digital camera, like the one that I thought would qualify. And so I had to beg them to get me a used Canon Rebel T2i on eBay. So $200 later, I got my Canon Rebel T2i and was able to finish that class. So I loved the class. I really enjoyed what I learned, but I was actually working a part-time job at a retail store where I lived. And I was making $8 an hour, and I was too young to work longer shifts than 4 hours. So I wasn't really making any money, and I also just felt super stuck. I felt like there was more to life than staying at a retail store, and I just felt like I was draining my energy every time I went. And maybe you feel like that right now with your full-time job or your schooling or just whatever season of life you're in. I walked out feeling drained and exhausted more than I felt excited and joyful about the life that I was living. So I was continuing to photograph friends just for fun on the side. And then one day, one of their moms gave me a $50 check as a thank you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I went from making $8 an hour to $50 in an hour, and I was like, I'm rolling in it, this is the life, this is all I need. And I actually realized in that moment, it clicked for me that photography could be more than just a fun hobby on the side. And maybe you can relate to that because there was no one in my life that was telling me or inspiring me or encouraging me that a creative passion can actually make you income, it can actually be a job. And so I started to pursue photography a little bit more seriously. And a couple of months later, summer rolled around, I was about to be going into my senior year, and I quit that part-time job at the retail store to pursue photography full-time. So I actually went and got a business license. I made everything officially official at the age of 17, and I went into my senior year as a full-time photographer. So I was falling more and more in love with my business, more and more in love with the art of photography. And you can actually see here, these are my senior pictures with my little Canon Rebel T2i. I was so proud of it, but I still wasn't really making enough money to make it a job. So at the same time I was pursuing building my business, I was applying for colleges. And I applied to 7 different schools. My plans kept changing, but I got accepted to all of them. And so I had a really big decision to make. And I decided to commit to the university that was closest to my house, but it was still an 8-hour round trip away. So I committed to the school. I went to orientation. I met my roommate. I signed up for classes. I met my professors. I paid all the dollars. And it was then the end of my senior year. So my business is a little bit more busy now. I have consistent clients. I'm photographing senior portraits. And I realized that something was weighing weighing really heavy on my heart and just didn't feel right about my decision to go away to school. So I spent a few weeks trying to decide what I should do, to pray about what the best option was. And then I went to a workshop where I met someone named Caroline Logan, and she's a photographer that's a year older than me. She was doing exactly what I wanted to be doing, and she decided not to go to school and to pursue her photography full-time instead. So poor girl, I cornered her at this workshop and drilled her with questions. And what she said to me is what helped me to make the biggest decision I've ever made. And she said, wherever you go, be all there. And I realized that I had been working in my business for 2 years, but I had never been fully present in my business. And I had also never been fully present in school because I was constantly doing multiple things at one time, and I wasn't able to put 100% of myself into any of the things that I loved. So a couple of weeks later, a month before I was supposed to go away to the college that I had committed to, I revoked my admission to go full-time instead. So I've been a full-time photographer now for going on 5 years, but what a lot of people don't realize about my story and about how I got started is that when I made that decision not to go to school, not to go away to a university, it was actually met with a lot of backlash. A lot of people did not agree with that decision. A lot of people told me that I shouldn't or I couldn't. I got blog comments that were paragraphs long telling me that I was crazy, and my own dad at the time was not the biggest fan of the idea. So he actually required me to go back to school at a community college, which at the time felt like a compromise. And I had to do full credit hours at the community college while I was still working in my business. So I did that semester as a full-time student and a full-time photographer, and it was so hard. And at the same time, I was getting backlash from my friends. They were all going away to school and parties and football games, and I was staying up until 2 a.m. to balance my English essays and my photography editing. And so I begged him after that one semester to give me 1 semester off, to give me the chance to show him what I could do within my business if I was just working full-time within my business and not also doing school. And in that semester, I had no choice but to prove to my dad that I could make this a full-time career with full-time hours and full-time money. And so I built my business in that semester from nothing to 6 figures in that very first year of being a true full-time photographer. If you can relate to any part of that story, maybe you're a dreamer who just loves the idea of following your creative passion, but you just don't know what to do yet. Maybe you're 5 years into your business and you just have people that aren't approving, or you're in a rut. Maybe you're in a season where you're working full-time or going to school full-time and you're trying to find ways to balance all the things. I want these videos to be a resource for you that you look forward to every week, where you grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee and you tune in to learn from me and spend time with me. And I just want these to be a safe space for you to build your business and chase your dreams. Starting next week, we are going to be talking all about the systems that I use in my business. I'm going to be breaking down my most popular workflows that gave me balance in my life so that I didn't have to be working 24/7, but also helped me build my business and make more money by being strategic and organized on the back end of my business. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am, and I will see you for the first official episode next week.